Welcome to the Mischief Maker broadcast, where chaos, creativity, and common sense collide. Your host, Joel Freeman, was kicked out of high school in Alberta, Canada. He left home at 17 and hitchhiked around North America as a long-haired hippie and dope-smoking fool. He made a 180-degree change, becoming one of the first chaplains in the history of the NBA. As a professional speaker, Joel has traveled to well over 55 countries. His many books have been published in 28 foreign translations. Pieces from his Black History collection have been seen by millions at the United Nations and many other venues. And now, the Chief Mischief Maker himself, Dr. Joel A. Freeman.
Hi, Baby Joel here. I have a tip for you. If you leave alphabet soup in a saucepan on a hot stove and go out of the house, it could spell disaster.
Well, Baby Joel can spell, and he's got it figured out that it could spell D-I. Well, I won't bother spelling, but it could spell disaster. Welcome to the show. We have a tremendous guest tonight. His name is Mohamed Moustafa, and I got something here about his bio. He's the senior conservator at the Grand Egyptian Museum. Now, if you've never heard of the Grand Egyptian Museum and you're hearing it for the first time tonight, you're in for quite a treat. It's a huge, wonderful project that has been put together on the Giza Plaza, just right outside of Cairo, right on the footsteps of Cairo, in the Giza Plaza. And it's just, I have not been there. I've been to the Cairo Museum before, and all around different parts of Egypt. But that's on my bucket list now. And I'm looking forward so much to eventually going to the GEM, Grand Egyptian Museum. Well, he's the conservator of all things wood. He might correct me on that, on certain elements of that, but he's a big deal there. He lives in Japan. And he's also an advisory board member to the Rosetta Universe, which is the sponsor of this show, of the Mischief Maker Show. He's also a Ph.D. scholar at Tokyo University of the Arts, a diploma and master's degree in heritage science at Egypt's Japan University of Science and Technology. He's a coordinator of Wood, Furniture, and Lacquer Working Group. And Mohamed has been involved in various international conferences, workshops, and online lectures on the conservation of museum objects and archaeological materials. His work includes significant contributions to conservation projects such as the Tutankhamun collection, King Tut. You know, you got to dance like King Tut. I think it was Steve, the comedian. He had that song. The first Khufu boat, and painted wooden coffins from El Heiba. He has collaborated with organizations like the German Archaeological Institute and JICA and published several research articles in this field. So we're going to be bumping into Mohamed shortly. And for those who are on the show live, you know who you are. Right above us, you can see and for anyone who's not watching this live, I have a QR code right above me. And you can go to that and kind of figure out what is the definition of a mischief maker. And number two, we have a link tree of all sorts of links. We have all the old shows, the people that have come on. We've had conversations with over, I guess this is what, the 52nd show, I think, 53rd show. And so it's kind of a really cool place to check out, kind of a town well, if you will, international town well for this show. And also, for those who are live, you can ask questions. Now, you're going to be fascinated by the show, and there's going to be questions that might come to your mind. Well, just get your fingers working. And Mel Albin, who is the producer and owner of this platform, he is the one that will be the curator. He's not the curator of all things wooden and lacquer at any museum, but he's the curator of your questions. So, without any further ado, we got a song I wrote. This is the 50th anniversary of the roots legacy with Alex Haley. And in honor of Alex Haley and Roots, I wrote a song called the Alex Haley, Roots, and the Rosetta Stone. And I just thought it'd be appropriate today to share that song because of the Rosetta Stone coming from ancient Egypt, 196 BC. So without any further ado, let's jump right into that song.
1964, London calling name, sent to chase a star of silver screen fame. Julie Christie filming, and the meeting never came. So he lingered to see spoils from the old world untamed. A guided tour pause in the museum hall, where a fractured black tablet made Alex recall. Some codes hide quiet till the right key is turned. Every locked up past waits to be known. From bloodline whispers to a world of stone, who'd speak loud through the Rosetta Stone.
Three voices carved from a distant time, hieroglyph, demotic, and Greek in a line. Champollion, listen where others guess. Let the known words lead them into the rest. Secrets unlocked, Egypt became the trend. What was sealed by time came alive again.
30,000 feet on the flight back home, that stone kept tapping in his mind like a drum. Kinte said his name, cold strummed the tone. Can be Bolongo where the deep waters run.
Fragments of language, broken but strong. A map in the music of a mother tongue.
Some codes hide quiet till the right key is turned. Every locked up past waits to be known. From bloodline whispers to a language on stone, roots speak loud through the Rosetta Stone.
Hitting Tennessee, Mo's voice is gone. Only cousin Georgia's still holding on. 80 years heavy, bedridden and afraid, till Africa stirred when telling her tale.
She sat straight up when Africa was named, and the past caught fire in the words she claimed.
No charts, no ledgers, no paper trail, just scattered clues that refuse to fail.
The UN and Hamilton, one face at a time, till Gambia answered what the world did decline.
One man heard home in the words he said, and the door swung wide to the names of the dead.
Some codes hide quiet till the right key is turned. What was taken can still be grown. From porch-lit tales to a journey full blown, the roots of Alex Haley and the Rosetta Stone.
Well, hope you enjoyed the lyrics to that song and the performance, the production. That song is tells a story that hardly anybody knows about. That really is a Rosetta Stone that launched the idea of roots. And I was reading about this in an article interview that Alex Haley had back in I think it was the early 70s. And he was reflecting back on how he was stuck in London and so on, as you saw in the lyrics of the song. And then this idea came to him that language was the key to get through to find his ancient roots in Africa. And so it just it unlocked the secrets of ancient Egypt. That's what the Rosetta Stone did. And he wanted to unlock the secrets of his forebears. So that's a very a fascinating story, I thought, that we wanted to put into a song. We're going to jump right in. Mohamed Moustafa, good man, come on in, and let's begin our conversation. I hope you enjoyed that song. Had you heard that song before, by the way, about the Rosetta Stone?
No, it's my first time, and but it was very interesting. It makes me thinking about roots of ancient Egyptian civilization. But we need to think more deeply about this case. It's not part of my specialization, by the way. I'm a conservator, but ancient Egypt has a great civilization. Let's say that. And maybe it's not totally connected to African peoples. Maybe it's a different case. Not all Egyptians are too black like this. Maybe we can recognize some of much more information from their inscriptions, their face on tombs and on wall paintings or so like this. It's very interesting to link to our roots in Africa, but also we have a great civilization, let's say that.
Yeah,
so thank you so much.
His connection was not necessarily back to ancient Egypt. His connection was with the Gambia. And so he had heard certain words that as a child, on the porch of his home in Tennessee. And then as he heard those words, he didn't know what they meant. So he actually, after going to London, seeing the Rosetta Stone, making the connection that language is a key to understanding ancient times, he then went to the UN, and he would go up to an African delegation and say these words, and they'd look at him blankly like, we don't understand you. What are you talking about? And finally, in Hamilton College in New York, he found a young man from the Gambia, and he says, "I know exactly what those words are," and that's where the whole roots came from. So that's the story behind the song, if you will.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Let's jump right into your story. You grew up in Egypt. What part of Egypt did you grow up in? And kind of take us back, because I definitely want to spend some time about what you're doing as a conservator at the Grand Egyptian Museum, how you got there. You're in Japan. What's the connection to Egypt? I want to understand all that. And I know our viewers do too, but I want to get into your childhood and the impact that people have had on you in terms of what you're doing today.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for your kind invitation and your interesting introduction. And special thanks to attendees for their time and dedication in joining us today. Let's talk about my story now. I was growing up in Cairo, and my house was so close to pyramids. So I was lucky enough, maybe. So growing up in Egypt, I was fascinated by ancient Egyptian monuments, museums, archaeological discoveries around me or around my house accommodation, which inspired my passion for history and cultural heritage. You couldn't imagine that I was living so close to a place dating back to more than 3,000 years old. And every weekend I was going with my family for archaeological sites, museums, and many places, which grows my interest about and my thinking about how these people created this great civilization and how to keep these objects safe for a long time. That's very interesting and was inspiring me just to think more about my future career job, to be a person who is responsible for saving these objects for a long time, to be a witness of our great civilization.
Now, how rare was that? Because I know I live near Washington, D.C., and I have met people that have never been to Smithsonian Institution, for instance, and they've lived here all their lives. And then, people in Chicago never been to the Oriental Museum, and New York, the Met. It's different galleries and museums. Now, what is it? Were you an anomaly? Were you a different kind of kid growing up? Were the other kids all interested the same way, or was it your parents that kind of drew you in?
I think the key role of my parents played a very important role in my life, and also my teachers in my schools, because my parents were interested in ancient Egyptian civilizations, so they were tried to give us much more information and just to teach us much more about our great civilization, and just talk us to many archaeological places around Egypt, not only in my place, not only in Cairo, but Luxor, Aswan, and many other places around Egypt, just to see and to know more information about your ancestors. It's very important for you as a baby or as like a child, 6 years old, 7 years old, to know much more information. And also, my teachers played an important role in developing my interest in Egypt ancient civilization. Really, their passion for history and archaeology encouraged me just to learn more about our cultural heritage and inspired me to think about my future goal to be a conservator, let's say, and to be much more lucky. And I'm considering myself lucky enough to work in such a great place like the Grand Egyptian Museum and to achieve my dream goal to touch ancient Egyptian objects dating back to many thousand years, and to be like a person who is responsible for saving this cultural heritage, to be a witness of our civilization for a long time.
When you traveled around, did you did you go how far north, how far south, east, west were your travels, and how deliberate was it? Was it like every week, one weekend a month, you would plan to do this, or is just kind of like on the spur of the moment? Let's go visit, Aswan or Saqqara or wherever it might be.
Really, we are preparing our visits each year during summer vacation, because when I was young, we have very interesting thing, because in our schools we have 3 months of summer vacation, so there is
Mhm.
nothing to do during this vacation. So I was planning with my family about our next adventure in Egypt. Mainly, we have tried to visit Luxor and Aswan many times. Let's say that more than 10 times, because it's a rich place of ancient Egyptian civilization. And if you don't have enough time, and my parents don't have enough time for vacation, long time vacation, we are going to Saqqara, Dahshur, Abu Sir, and maybe in other some museums, because I'm interested in ancient Egyptian artifacts, but also we have a rich culture heritage dating back to another era, like Coptic museums, Islamic objects, Islamic artifacts, Islamic museums. So it depends on our time, and depends on availability of our parents. But they are interested in keeping me in touch with our great civilization. So during summer vacation, we should visit ancient Egyptian site or museum.
So, did you ever imagine yourself as a kid being so close to actually touch
Yeah.
certain artifacts? I mean, is this like it's like a kid playing football and on the pitch, and then or soccer? I guess we call it soccer in America, but and then becoming an actual soccer or football player. Is that kind of you're playing at the big leagues right now, right?
Yeah. And it's the same thing like this in Egypt, We have the same thing in Egypt. Yeah.
But you're now actually touching these artifacts. Did you ever
Yeah.
imagine that as a child that you'd be doing that?
Oh, let's say no. I never imagined that I would one day work so closely with some of the most important artifacts in the history. However, I always thinking that I'm lucky enough to grow in Egypt, to be so close to ancient Egyptian objects, and to select this career path. Because now I'm working at the Grand Egyptian Museum, and
Mm.
I'm so close to ancient Egyptian objects, and I was responsible for applying conservation interventions to some masterpieces of Tutankhamun, which was a big dream of mine. You
That's
couldn't
crazy.
imagine that. After more than 100 years of discovery, you are the person who is responsible for applying conservation intervention to some of these collection. And also, this career path helped me to just grow my international knowledge, experience, travel to many places. So I'm talking now from Japan. I'm doing my PhD now in Japan.
Wow.
So after my PhD, it's like short journey in Japan to finish my PhD, and after that, I should return back fast to Egypt, to my place, to my lab, and start again to continue a conservation intervention to ancient Egyptian objects. Yeah.
Now, I want to come back to King Tutankhamun, but tell us about your parents. And do you have siblings, brothers and sisters in your family?
Yeah, I have two brothers, and they are engineers. They don't so close to ancient. They are not so close to the ancient Egyptian civilization. So it's only me now in my family. Yeah, and my father and my mother also, they are engineers. But they have a passion for ancient Egyptian civilization, because you know that for tombs and for temples, it's like very interesting to know how they built, how ancient Egyptian built these massive buildings. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so close to engineering, by the way. But I decided to select my role, as I decided to go through small wooden object, ancient Egyptian collection, and to save this object for a long time. Yeah.
And what drew you specifically to wood, lacquer, those types of artifacts, as opposed to stone? Because stone is everywhere.
Yeah. And now I'm specialized in ancient Egyptian wooden objects.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite challenging from ancient Egyptian perspective. Let's think more about wood. Is a organic material, and it's fragile material, so it's very sensitive about degradation over time. And now for ancient Egyptian objects, it's not common to find ancient Egyptian wood that's like only made of wood.
Hmm.
Many of these collections made of wood, covered with ground layer and painted layers, and while some of these collections are covered with gilded layers. So I'm working closely to gilded objects or to painted objects, which is quite challenging because it's like a mixture between organic and inorganic materials. So they have different deterioration rates over time. So it's very sensitive about degradation rates. So I decided to go through this specialization because I know they need much more support, much more preservation. So I decided to preserve these objects for a long time because they are very sensitive.
Now, when it comes to paint, we go to here in America, we go to a store, I'm sure in Japan or in Egypt, and you buy paint and it has maybe 20, 25 years, it lasts. I'm fascinated. What is different? Why are we in this modern era where we could create paint that could last for centuries if we wanted to, let's say? How is it that paint from ancient Egypt is as bright and vivid today, almost when it was first painted, and our paint lasts for 20 years?
Okay, let's say that it's a magic of ancient Egyptian artists. That's kind of magic, let's say. So for ancient Egyptian manufacturing techniques, really they are using like natural pigments.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk more about manufacturing technique of ancient Egyptian objects, because it's very interesting. For ancient Egyptian wood, starting with wood, wood in ancient Egypt was like a poor quality. We don't have high quality wood in Egypt. Our native wood was not in a high quality. So first of all, the ancient Egyptian artists know this case, this fact. So they are trying to use many different jointing techniques just to connect these panels together with different ways to save time and to save this wood, because this wood was not in a good quality and they have very many challenges behind it. So they decided to innovate different jointing techniques and join together. But after joining this wood together, it's becoming not strong enough. So they decided to add a thick ground layer, mainly made of calcium carbonate. In some cases, they are adding some kind of gypsum to this case to support the structure of wood. So after supporting structure of wood, they are adding in many cases like a thin layer called whitewash or preparatory layer. It's also made of calcium carbonate, but it's like fine preparation layer to save and to support also the structure and to make a good ground to apply their drawing and their paintings. After that, next step, they are trying to add their drawing, and after drawing, they add their painting. In some cases, they are just finished by adding painting only, but in other cases, they are adding coating area on this painting.
What is
Some
that?
coating layers, meaning like varnish. In
Uh-huh.
some cases, they are adding some varnish, or related to religious believing of ancient Egyptian, they are adding black resin. It's a black
Hmm.
layer covering the multicolor layer, polychrome layer.
Hmm.
It's just for a leisure reason, And as you can see, that for ancient Egyptian objects, we have a dry environment. So it's well preserved objects. And after discovering, we are take care about everything because we have something called environmental shock after discovery. These objects were saved with like a controlled temperature and humidity for more than 2,000, 3,000 years ago. And after discovery, there is environmental shock, which could losing painted layers, and it could totally damage the whole eternal structure of wood. So we take care about these details, and we are trying to make like adapt the
Mhm.
case of objects, and after that doing like first aid process and transportation to specialized labs, applying full conservation, and put these object again in like controlled showcases with controlled temperature and humidity, so we can save this painting for a long time after discovery.
Wow. So when you are working on these, uh, have you had anything like explode in your hand? You like turn to dust in your hand, and you just it's destroyed, or how do you approach something that old?
Okay, so it's a quite challenging task for us as a conservators. So I know that people who are not belonging to a conservation area don't know much more information regarding our process, our conservation process. So first of all, we have like risk assessment. We should do risk assessment report, and we should do a condition report, a case by case, because not all wooden objects were discovered in the same case of degradation or deterioration rates. So we are trying to apply first risk assessment and condition assessment, and after that trying with the first aid process. So first aid process is just trying to use a reversible materials to support the weakened parts and friable areas to make the object more safe during transportation. And after that, we are trying to make a transportation and remove the first aid materials, and after that, applying our conservation treatment case by case. This case is related to the recently discovered object, and also related to our joint project related to transportation of masterpieces of Tutankhamun from the old museum to the Grand Egyptian Museum. So we are following the same strategy, because these masterpieces were not in a good condition. Some of them were not in a good condition, really. And after 100 years of discovery, we need to know much more information about the deterioration rate. So we have our process how to deal with this object, but it's like, let's say it's case by case, but we should treat every object with high curiosity and with high responsibility, because we are touching history. If we
Mhm.
made any small change or any damage to the original object, we are losing valuable information. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to take a break now in just a
Oh,
few
okay.
seconds here, but I just want to say that I know I visited the Cairo Museum, and it just seemed like objects were out there. They weren't in humidity control, temperature controlled boxes, and that concerned me at the time. Was that a problem with some of the objects you got from the Cairo Museum, bringing them over to the?
Um, yeah, let's say it was not like a big problem for us, because these objects were exhibited at the same environment for a long time, so
Okay.
it's not a big problem. Let's say we could find some deterioration rates of some objects,
Hmm.
but we could say now that we had many objects from the Cairo Museum, especially all Tutankhamun collection now, were
Hmm.
exhibited in one place at the Grand Egyptian Museum, and now they are going to make renovation for showcases, for a scenario, for the exhibition scenario, for everything Cairo Museum. So I trust for your next visit to Cairo Museum, you will see different things. You will see new objects. You will have much more good experience to discover the ancient Egyptian secrets for first time for Cairo Museum, because Cairo Museum is not only showcases, they have treasures. They have treasures in storerooms, in storage rooms.
Yes.
And they are going to exhibit many secrets in the upcoming years. So you are welcome anytime.
Yeah, in most museums, it's only about 2 to 3% that actually get out to be observed and seen, and everything else is are in warehouses somewhere.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And you get to go in those warehouses. That must be so exciting. Well, we're going to take a break right now, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about King Tut, and I've got some questions I think you'll enjoy about that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Have you ever heard the song about the Rosetta clone? He started as a rolling stone, broke up and went out on his own. Rock star wherever he roams, with the face of the Rosetta Stone. Yes sir, I can sing whenever I want to sing. If I like that song, well now it belongs to me. And I can fix whatever I want to fix. Solving problems has offered me my stardom. Hey, there's a new guy in town. That is till word gets round. He's the chip of the old block, sold out shows whenever he's inbound. Said if you don't know his name, I bet you know his songs. As soon as I sing them once, you too will sing along. Imagine there's no hieroglyphics. Imagine. I'll bet you couldn't if you tried. I bet you couldn't. When you read like me, sky's the limit. Haha. Because Demotic and Greek is the reason why. Me. Have you ever heard the song? Yes, you have. About the Rosetta clone. That's me. He started as a rolling stone, broke up and went out on his own. That's right. Rock star wherever he roams. That's right. With the face of the Rosetta Stone. Sing along. I can do what I wanna do. Whatever I want to do. And it's gonna be a bold discovery. Yeah. I can solve whatever I want to solve. I can take my time. Be patient. I can give my all. No, he's never won any awards, but he's number one and adored. Hard like granite on the inside. Some fly high, but he just slides. A true underground story, filled with the guts and the glory. Emotional songs you can feel to. Food for the broken-hearted to heal to. One is the loneliest number you'll ever view. I may look like another stone, but this pebble's just for you. CLONNE. Find out what it means to me. The world's greatest impersonator is him, and him is me. You're welcome. Have you ever heard the song? Yes, you have. About the Rosetta clone. That's me. He started as a rolling stone, broke up and went out on his own. That's right. Rock star wherever he roams. That's right. With the face of the Rosetta Stone. Sing along. Sir, I can sing whenever I want to sing. If I like that song, well now it belongs to me. I can know whatever I want to know. I love curiosity. I'm so curious. You know it's the key. Question. Have you ever heard the song? Yes, you have. About the Rosetta clone. That's me. He started as a rolling stone, broke up and went out on his own. That's right. Rock star wherever he roams. That's right. With the face of the Rosetta Stone. Sing along. I can learn whatever I wanna learn. I want to learn. I always try to find out why. I can be whatever I'm meant to be. Got a clear view. I can see the sky is blue. Goodbye.
There you have it. One of our previous shows, we had Mark SX. He's the one that wrote and produced that song. And Rosetta Clone is a, I guess you could call him the docent, the guide of the Rosetta Universe. And we have some information on our QR code right above here. It's number 1 in the link tree. And one of the things that I designed is this belt. This is a Jack Johnson belt, and every penny you donate, you can only get it through this project. Every penny goes toward the nonprofit foundation that is doing the whole project, the Rosetta Universe project. So, and that's a nice segue to our guest. He's on the advisory board with Smokey Robinson, Ben Carson, a host of other people, Kathy Hughes. And just tell us a little bit about, very quickly, and we'll get into Tutankhamun, about your interest about the Rosetta Universe and what interests you and intrigues you about this project.
Okay, so let's say that it's my pleasure to be part of the advisory board of the Rosetta Universe project. Rosetta Stone is not only archaeological object, it's a symbol of Egyptian identity and the key that unlocked the ancient Egyptian language. So to share this information with all people around the world is very interesting for us. And for me, especially as Egyptian person is specialized in ancient Egyptian culture heritage, I have a big dream one day to return back Rosetta Stone to Egypt, the original Rosetta Stone to Egypt. It's not easy way, I know, and I don't know how efforts behind this scenario. But returning Rosetta Stone to the Grand Egyptian Museum will allow this object to be displayed within its original culture context and reconnect it with the civilization that created it. During our journey in culture heritage, it's very important to recognize the significance of ancient Egyptian objects, and their civilization. Each object should be reconnected to its civilization. It's not in its context to display any ancient Egyptian object or its significance or its value outside Egypt, because who creates these objects are ancient Egyptians, and it's for Egypt and for ancient Egypt, and it has like many values behind each object, and it should be exhibited in its context. During your initiative, it's very interesting to join and to make replicas and to share knowledge, experience behind Rosetta Stone. But I'm sorry, I'm talking now about my dream, my future dream. Yeah, about my future. Not only Rosetta Stone, but many of ancient Egyptian masterpieces now exhibited outside Egypt. So
yes,
I'm so sad to hear that. Yeah.
Well, can you kind of give us a behind the scenes of any movement in that regard, getting the Rosetta Stone back to Egypt?
I know that we are trying hard to do that regarding diplomatic ways.
Mm-hmm.
I know there are big challenges behind this case, not only Rosetta Stone, but many ancient Egyptian objects outside Egypt, because not many of these objects were traveled to Egypt in illegal way. If we have illegal way of traveling these objects outside Egypt, it's much more easy to return back this object to Egypt. I think that Dr. Zahawas now is playing a very important role and is trying hard to reconnect these objects again to Egypt. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I hope to see these objects, not only Rosetta Stone, but Nefertiti head, bust head, and
in Berlin.
Yeah, many masterpieces now outside Egypt. So I hope to see these masterpieces exhibited at the Grand Egyptian Museum, and to be the conservator who is trying to welcome this object again.
Who can touch them?
Yeah, this is my dream.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question here from, I think, Philippe Cousseau. I'm maybe not pronouncing or seeing it correctly. The museum claims it has never received an official formal request for the stone's return or long-term loan from the Egyptian government. Speaking of the British Museum, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, let's say it's not related to official request to the museum, but there are many ways and many diplomatic ways behind the scene. It's not my part to talk about it. I think there are many experts working hard behind the scenes, especially Dr. Zahawas is playing a very important role in this regard. But let's say we are trying hard, we are doing our best, and we are believe that maybe in the near future, many of ancient Egyptian objects will return back to Egypt. Yeah.
Thank you, Philippe. I think that's I'm seeing the name correctly, but thank you for the question. Now, one more quick thing about the Rosetta Stone. Have you been up to the Fort Rashid where it was unearthed on the west bank of the Nile?
No, I haven't.
Well, when I come there, you and I need to go up together. It's
Yeah, sure.
it's one
It's
of the
my
most
pleasure.
incredible. Going up to Alexandria in about an hour, 2 hours or so east, and it's just an incredible spot there to see
Yeah, it's
across the Nile and at the mouth of the Mediterranean. It's quite something. Anyway,
it's my pleasure. I remember that I have visited this place one time before, but when I was too young, 6 years old, maybe. So
and you didn't know. You
it's
didn't know. You're looking around. And,
yeah. I was too young at this time. So let's do it again together.
and by the way, there is a very poor replica there, and I just when I was there some years back, I just thought this is terrible. They need to have really robust
Yeah,
exhibit there for the Rosetta Stone. Anyway, that's
yeah,
beside the point.
yeah.
Okay, getting to King Tut. King Tut was an unremarkable person in terms of his leadership. Not a whole lot of accomplishments. A young man, but his stuff was found by Carter or was unearthed, I guess is a better way of putting it. I don't even like the word discovery. I just like it unearthed, and found or something like that. Because anyway, tell us a little bit about that. How it was found, unearthed, and how so many objects were found, and what happened from that point on. In terms, especially the lacquer, the wood items that are there.
Okay, so let's say that Tutankhamun tomb is the most well-preserved tomb, which was discovered by Howard Carter, and it was discovered in 1922. And with Howard Carter, there was a, let's say, talented conservator called Alfred Lucas. Really helped us now by applying a conservation intervention to many ancient Egyptian collection related to Tutankhamun after the tomb discovery. So maybe at this time, conservation was not well known. I think that it's not like much more science behind conservation, so they don't know much more information behind the side effect of materials or so on like this. But he helped us to save this object until we receive this object at the Grand Egyptian Museum, Cairo Museum, and the Grand Egyptian Museum. After that, to apply full conservation interventions. And let's say that Tutankhamun collections are around 5,398 objects.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. It's our
Wow.
first time to discover the full objects from our king in the same tomb. It's around more than 5,000 objects. And the most interesting thing that these objects were not exhibited in the same place. Some of these objects were exhibited in Cairo Museum. Other of these objects were exhibited in Luxor Museum. And some of these collections were in the storage rooms. So not the whole collection were exhibited in the same place. But now at the Grand Egyptian Museum, it's your time to experience the whole collection, which were exhibited in the same place for the first time since
Really?
discovery.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And let's say that it's first time to see that, but also we have many scientific research behind Tutankhamun collection. So we have many conservation discoveries behind, not only me, but also my colleagues, because we are working as a teamwork at the Grand Egyptian Museum. So we discovered many secrets behind Tutankhamun collection. So you will have a unique experience, I believe.
We have a question here. Charles Randolph, I think. I'm sorry, it's not my screen isn't that clear. My understanding is that the British Museum has ruled out returning ownership, but it has stated it is open to discussing long-term loan requests with Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities. Is this true?
Um, let's say that Rosetta Stone is a masterpiece of the British Museum. So it's a fact. So it's not easy to return back this object from the British Museum. About the official communication, about the official process between the British Museum and the Ministry of Antiquities, I think it's much more better to wait and see the
Mhm.
efforts behind it, because it's not easy to talk about anything right now. I know some information, but it's not my part to talk about. But
Come on,
let's
come
say
on. You can share. Come on.
I couldn't. I couldn't. It's not my part, you know. It's not my part, you know. Let's say that I'm a conservator working at the Grand Egyptian Museum. I have a big dream about returning back this object to Egypt. But there are many experts in Egypt now, well-known experts in Egypt now, are trying hard, not only for Rosetta Stone, but many ancient Egyptian objects outside Egypt.
Mhm.
So maybe you are right person to talk about this case with them, not
I
me.
understand.
But let's hope that we could have like a positive feedback and we could return not only Rosetta Stone but many ancient Egyptian objects from outside Egypt.
Yes. And I think also part of this is there's a international understanding about spoils of war, and the Ottomans actually they signed an agreement for spoils of war. So I don't know where all that fits in from a legal international perspective, but it's part of the picture. Here we have John Paddington. He says King Tutankhamun is a massive historical deal precisely because he was not that important of a long ruling pharaoh, because his reign was short and relatively minor. His tomb was largely overlooked by ancient grave robbers. Can you speak to that for John? Thank you, John.
Uh, yes, I totally agree that King Tut was too young and he has died around maybe when he was at 18 years old or so, that or something like this. But what makes this discovery is very important because it was the first time to discovered this massive collection in one tomb. It's well preserved collection in one tomb in the history, you know.
Mhm.
It's not common in Egypt to discover more than 5,000
Oh my.
object
Mm.
in one tomb. This is very interesting and very important from archaeological point of view and from also conservation science point of view,
Mhm.
because from archaeological point of view we could have much more information about the uh, archaeological significance and about history of this era and about much more information about his ruling and maybe about his case, and because we discover much more information behind his case, and also we found that he has maybe two daughters and very tiny mummies. We discovered very small mummies.
Mhm.
And now I think it was exhibited at the Grand Egyptian Museum. So from archaeological point of view, it's very important, and from conservation science view, it's very important because it allows us to make some kind of a comparative study
Mhm.
between these collections together and this collection with other collection from other time in ancient Egypt. So we could recognize much more improvement in a manufacturing technique, engineering, and many things, many secrets
Mhm.
behind. We discussed it before, and we already published some articles behind Tutankhamun discovery. And now in a joint project with the Japanese experts now, because as you know, maybe I don't know, but we had like a big joint project with the Japanese experts related to gilded wooden beds and chariots related to Tutankhamun collection as a masterpieces of the Golden King, including scientific investigation and transportation, conservation, and conservation science study behind it. So we are going now to publish a massive publication highlighting the collaboration between Egypt and Japan regarding this case, and we are going to share new secrets behind Tutankhamun discovery.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
John, appreciate your question. Now, can you explain the balance between restoring an artifact and preserving its authenticity?
Okay, so before applying any conservation intervention, it's very important to think about everything behind our object, because it's not only to repair object or to add some materials or so like this. It's related to how to save whole values behind object, because each object has different values. I mean, religious value, scientific value, and authenticity, and many values behind. So it's not only as a conservator to repair this object, but to make a balance and to preserve values of each object, which is very important and quite challenging, because if you are, for example, if you are using like different materials with curious about the chemical structure of painted layers, for example, and chemical structure of the dirt layer, if you are going to remove some dirt layer, or the previous conservation intervention or so like this, we are going to lose very important information from our object. By losing this information, we are losing a very important part from history of this object and value of this object, for example. I remember in the past there are many examples about how bad conservation, or let's say previous conservation, leads to losing very valuable information behind the object. So it's not only to add materials or to do some techniques or to have a good hand skills, but to have much more information about everything behind your object. And we are just saying we need to know the story behind our object before touching it.
Mm-hmm.
Significance, religious value, and place of discovery. And after that, this part is from Egyptologists and archaeologists. So it's like collaboration between conservators, Egyptologists or archaeologists, and also conservation scientists. So first part, we are going to hear more information from archaeologists. After that, trying to get much more information from conservation science part, to know much more information about chemical structure of each layer and manufacturing technique. And if we are talking about wood, about is there any kind of degradation about the eternal structure of wood that we couldn't see by our eyes, because in some cases there are micro cracks, micro damage in the eternal structure of wood, but it was covered with ground layer, painted layer, so we couldn't see. So it will help us to know much more information during handling, backing, and also how to support friable areas. So it's long journey since receiving object until finishing our task as a conservation intervention.
After thousands of years, is that one of the biggest challenges to the wood degradation, or is that the biggest threat? Having the micro things in the back. Do you use MRI, by the way, or any type of thing that gets into the wood before you actually handle it?
In many cases, we are using X-ray radiography.
Okay.
As a non-destructive technique, just to know much more information about the eternal structure of food. And let's say there are big challenges behind conservation of food and objects, because in some cases we are receiving objects really thermally degraded. Thermally degraded means that these objects are like becoming like powder. If you are going to touch it, it will turn into powders.
Yeah.
So it's quite challenging for us as a conservators. So how to save this object for a long time, because it has like a structure of a statue or a panel of wooden panel or anything like this, but once touching it, everything is becoming collapse. So it's quite challenging. So this is related to wood, but if you are dealing with wood with like gilded layers or painted layers, it's a different issue. We are different type of challenging, because for example, if you are talking with the gilded objects, there are a different thing called shrinkage and expanding between wood and other materials. So we could like we could find dismantled parts, and we could find very friable areas, and it could cause micro cracks or collapse for a wooden structure itself. So many challenges. You could imagine we are touching object dating back to more than 3,000 years ago. So in a very bad condition.
Now we have about 4 minutes left, 3.5 to 4 minutes. I'm intrigued. We think we're living in a very modern era, where we can put up skyscrapers and we got quantum computing and AI and all the rest of it. What has surprised you the most about the advancement of the ancient Egyptian society that we look at and we're astonished by now?
Okay, so let's say that there were very talented people in ancient Egypt.
Hmm.
We couldn't imagine how much experience and knowledge they gained to build this culture heritage, so massive, massive ancient Egyptian heritage civilization. But when you are talking now to the modern civilization and modern technology, we are always thinking as a conservators how to use this technology to help us to understand more, much more information about the ancient Egyptian civilization, knowledge, experience, and everything, because there are many, many secrets behind this area, you know. But now we are living in a modern technology,
Hmm.
so the challenge now is how to make the new technology helping us to understand the ancient Egyptian technology, just to help us to understand,
Yeah,
not to
I
replace,
understand.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult.
I think we aren't as advanced as we think we are when we start looking at ancient Egyptian technology. Now, in closing, if you were to you're looking at an object and you had the opportunity to talk to the artisan behind the creation of that object thousands of years ago, what kind of questions would you be asking? And what kind of responses would you
Oh,
be getting?
okay. For example, I'm always thinking about while working with one of Tutankhamun gilded wooden beds. I would like to ask the ancient Egyptian artist how you built this massive object, this very interesting object, how it was built. But I think there will be no response, and he will tell me it's secret. It's a secret. It's our ancient Egyptian secret, and you should discover it by yourself.
You know, I've done a lot of research around the Napoleonic Egyptian military campaign, and even though it was a debacle from a military standpoint, the way they were able to freeze in time a lot of the things that were the architecture and archaeology and entomology and all the different disciplines that were there, and it just one of the things that I heard and I read was that one of the savants that was there measured the rock on the Giza Plaza and said that there could be it's so massive that a wall could be built around the entire country of France, 10 feet tall, 1 foot thick, with just using the stone from the Giza Plaza. Had you heard that? Any thoughts on that in closing?
Um, I don't have much more information regarding this issue, but let's say that now we could be so close about identifying how they did like pyramids and how they moved rocks from place to other place and so like this. But now we know, and now we are going to know much more information because now we have latest technology.
Yes.
But the biggest question is how they got this technology in ancient Egypt.
Yes.
3,000 years old, 4,000 years old,
Yeah.
7,000 years ago. How they got this experience, this knowledge? We
Yeah.
know now many secrets behind ancient Egypt, but the big question, how they got this experience?
Yes.
It's quite challenging, you know.
It is. It is. And we think we're so advanced.
Yeah.
Well, Mohammed, the clock has gone far too fast, and we may have to revisit and kind of do another show in the future here. But thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. You're in Tokyo time, early in the morning, and thanks for being here with
Thank you
us.
so much. It's my pleasure to be with you today, and special thanks for you and for attendees for their interesting questions. And okay, I'm available anytime. It's just okay. It's my pleasure to be with you again.
Thank you.
You have just experienced another episode of the Mischief Maker broadcast. Hit the subscribe button. Connect at chiefmischiefmaker.com. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And hopefully, you are now a bit closer to becoming a mischief maker in your part of the world.